Hit that air raid sign. Time for Monday Morning Fallout. Monday Morning Fallout, of course. We overreact to the football weekend. And there was a bit of football this weekend.
That's
In
true.
fact, I watched a lot of football this weekend. That's not unusual, but like I feel like especially this weekend, I really binged. Which
I will say this. I actually think this weekend was more tolerable than a lot of them because we didn't really have a late game on Saturday. We had about 4 that went off at like 6 to 7:30, which actually it ended kind of early.
UTEP was the last game. I think it finished at 7:30. Or started kicked at 7:30.
And I think most of us had checked out on that one
Yeah.
long before it was actually over.
We'll get into that. 3 big thoughts. Thought number 1, statement week.
Yep.
That is, to me, the headline of Week 4 of Texas high school football season. I think there were a lot of teams across the state that stood up and said, right here, come and get it.
Right.
That's what I think happened. I think Carthage did it on Saturday.
Yep.
And, you know, it's funny because Matt Stepp, DCF High School Football Insider, was there live tweeting the game, and a number of our buddies out there in East Texas were out there live tweeting the game. And Gilmer got up early on Carthage, and I was like...
Had a nice 2-score lead at halftime, and I was like, ooh.
What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's going on? And then Carthage stood up and said, our time now.
Yep.
I think right now Carthage is the best pound-for-pound football team in Texas, and I think they proved it on Saturday night. And make no mistake, Gilmer's a fantastic team, and they'd won 29 straight at home.
Yeah.
And Carthage went in there in the second half and dominated.
Just ripped it away.
Just absolutely. That to me was a big statement. I think Mason made a huge statement.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Down there in 2A Division 1, we're talking all about Martin. We're talking all about Refugio.
Yeah.
And I think Mason stood up and goes, right here. 58-7? Was that the final?
I think that was the
Something
final.
like that?
Yeah.
Over Ira Ann.
Yeah. Good team.
A really good team.
Yeah.
And just mollywopped them.
Yeah.
That is a statement to me.
Talked to Coach Burns over the summer, and he talked a lot about how their big goal this year was to get bigger, right? They'd played Refugio, and they felt the biggest issue was they were just outmatched strength-wise, and he said they just had worked their butts off to be bigger. And I think it shows, right? Because we think Iran's a good 282 team, and they were pretty clearly dominated. So
I think Klein Collins made a big statement. Last week, I think it's easy to look at Klein Collins. That first week, they beat Houston and Lamar, and you go, oh, well,
nice win.
Week 1.
Week one, nice win.
They followed up with a 41-0 win over Humboldt Atascocita.
Woo!
That's a statement.
Yeah.
Smithson Valley, we'll talk about them in a minute. They made a statement this week. There were a number of teams. I thought Manville, again.
Yeah.
Denton Ryan. There were a lot of teams that stood up and said, come get some.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, the overarching theme of high school football in Week 4. Thought number 2, confirmation bias. We put out a magazine, a 400-page magazine, in which we, in the summer, kind of try to predict what happens in college football across the state. And as a result, we've been thinking a lot about football for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and months and months and months. And so we have in our brain these preconceived notions. And I'm really struggling right now because this past week of college football kind of only seemed to reinforce my preconceived notions, and I'm really I'm worried about that because I want to challenge myself.
You don't want to get too excited, right? You want to be as skeptical as possible, for sure.
We thought TCU might be an elite team.
Yeah.
They go to Oklahoma State, and I think they proved that they are.
Whew.
That was a super impressive win, and you know what? Not as close as the score indicates.
No.
I know TCU scored late to put it up, but all that did was make it, in my view, more indicative of how the game was.
Yeah.
Texas Tech. We thought maybe if that defense can take a step forward, they could be great. They could be not great, but they could be
really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
You know what? They did.
Yeah.
UTSA.
Yeah.
And I know it's just Texas State. All due respect, Bobcat fans. I know it's just Texas State, but they went down there and they did what you're supposed to do.
Yep.
On the road, they dominated a team. SMU.
Yeah.
SMU, we thought this could be the year. SMU had a nice breakout year.
3-1, baby.
3-1. To me, that is something that I'm struggling with currently because I'm always on guard for that. I'm always on guard for keep an open mind, make sure you're not delving into confirmation bias. But right now, this past week, all it did was A&M. A&M, we think, is a decent but flawed team.
Yeah.
What'd you see in Arlington?
Right.
You saw a decent but flawed team.
Yeah, and we didn't know what we were going to see with Houston, right? We were like, well, we really don't know what this team's going to look like, and I still don't think we do. I don't think they know who their quarterback is.
Right. I think you're right. That's thought number 2. Thought number 3, be very quiet.
So it must be tough for you.
We're not. Yeah. We're 4 games into high school football, and there are a number of teams very quietly just sliding along. Nobody's paying attention to.
Yeah.
Dripping Springs.
Yep.
4-0.
Yep.
Just drubbing people.
Yep.
That is a team that is, in my view, super underrated. San Antonio O'Connor.
Yep.
4-0, beating people. Think they're way under the radar. We'll talk to one today. Bay City.
Yep.
Bay City, cruising along. Nobody really paying attention to us. There were a couple others.
Nakona's another one.
Nakona.
Oh my Lord.
Nakona. Sonora. You saw what
Yep.
you saw what they did against Jim Ned.
Yep.
There are these teams that are just. Price Carlisle had a great win this week.
Kennedale.
Kennedale.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There are these teams that nobody's really paying attention to.
Yeah.
And I feel like in a year where a lot of the blue bloods
Yep.
are struggling to find their
Yep.
feet, don't be surprised if we're talking about these teams deep.
Yep.
And we're talking about these teams. But right now, 4 games in, they're just kind of flying under that radar. And it's really interesting to me to be able to spot those and be like, hey, that team's got something. So, those are my 3 big thoughts. 3 helmet stickers. Helmet sticker to Valley View running back Clint Epperson, who had quite a game.
Yeah.
15 carries, 335 yards, 6 touchdowns rushing. He also caught a couple passes for 70 yards and a touchdown, and he had 8 tackles on defense.
A little bit of everything.
Clint Epperson for Valley View gets a helmet sticker. Helmet sticker to the Texas Tech defense.
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, Texas Tech linebacker Dakota Allen is the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week. When's the last time Tech had a Defensive Player of the Week at the conference?
I don't know.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I think it's twofold. I do think Houston's offense is struggling right now.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I do think they're struggling right now. But I also think this defense is better. And there are small schematic changes.
Yeah.
But this isn't an overhaul.
It's fundamentals. You've talked about this with us over the weekend. You kept bringing it up. It's the fundamentals, man. They're making tackles.
They're just tackling better,
Yeah.
and they're getting off blocks better, and they're running the ball better.
Yeah.
They're just doing the little things, the basic things better.
Yeah.
And that is what's made the difference. Texas Tech's defense get a helmet sticker. As does Fannondale quarterback Lane Miller. 6-man action, 347 yards and 8 touchdowns passing, and 101 yards rushing. In the highest scoring game in Texas high school football history, Fannondale 125, Campbell 122. And, by the way, it ended in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah.
Or 4th quarter, rather. It ended in the 4th quarter. So that Fannondale quarterback Lane Miller gets a helmet sticker. 3 teams to watch, Smithson Valley. In this magazine, you will notice that in 6A, we predict 2 teams from the same district to win state championships. One of them, still riding with.
Yeah.
Still feeling pretty good about Converse Judson.
Yeah.
The other one is Cibolo Steel. And look what happened this week.
Yep.
As Smithson Valley goes and takes it to the Knights. And this is not a fluke. This is not a fluke. They have been playing this way all year long. The defense has been great. And they've held down Steel. They made some plays offensively. Smithson Valley, if we think in this magazine that there are 2 state champion worthy teams in that district, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens if Smithson Valley is the 2nd best team in that district? That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
Watch them out. UTSA, great win over Texas State.
Yep.
I want you to do me a favor. I tweeted this yesterday.
Okay.
Go look at their schedule.
I did see this.
Go
You're
look at
right.
their schedule,
Yeah.
and you find the game that you are absolutely, positively sure they're not going to win.
Yeah.
Absolutely sure they're not going to win.
tough.
There's one that I think is real tough. At the end of the year, they go to Louisiana Tech.
Yep.
They also got to go to North Texas, which is not going to be
It's
easy.
gonna be tough. It's a big offense.
Southern
Miss is always weird.
Southern Miss is dicey. Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of
Let's say you take those 3 games, right? You take those 3 games. Let's say you go 1-2.
Yeah.
You're finishing 9-2.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden you
Yeah.
start to dream and you go, wait a second.
Even 8-3 would be awesome.
Unbelievable.
So,
I mean, you go 9-2.
yeah.
That could get you in a conference title
Yeah.
game. Just saying. and Stephenville. They've been kind of off our radar for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, a couple rough years, right?
Couple rough years,
Yeah.
but they are rolling right now. 4-0, great win over Decatur, a team that you saw a couple weeks ago that you know is not lunch meat.
Good team.
They
well
go
coached.
and they beat Decatur at Decatur this past week, and they are getting it done on the ground. This junior running back, Kreese Nowak, is rolling right now. Watch out for the Yellow Jackets. 3 teams to worry about. Richmond Foster. What was that? They lose to Tomball 20-10, and I don't want to say anything bad about Tomball.
We already did, but keep going.
But right now, the biggest problem, and it's so funny when we're talking about Richmond Foster, the offense is nowhere to be seen. They've scored 26 points in 2 games. I mean, they would score 26 points in a quarter last year. And I know you lose a lot of playmakers, including one who's making huge plays for Oklahoma, and Cedarian Lamb.
Yeah.
But Richmond Foster, I'm starting to get a little worried about. That's a troubling loss in my mind. I'm worried about Houston, and I'm worried about specifically the offense. We thought, okay, week 1, weird jitters, get the win over Arizona.
Yeah.
It's a Power 5 win. Don't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Take it. Looks great against Rice.
Yep.
Right. Then they played Texas Tech, and again, I think Tech's defense has improved. But Kyle Allen looks shaky.
Yep.
The offensive line does not look very good.
Right.
And that works when you've got a guy like Greg Ward.
Right. You can cover up some of those warts. Yeah.
Exactly. You can get away with it. That doesn't work when you got a guy like Kyle Allen, who is a true pocket passer. I'm worried about Houston's offense, and I'm worried that it's going to kind of submarine their whole season. And Longview.
Yeah.
All of 11-6A got turned upside down.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Longview loses to Mesquite Horn
Yeah.
in a shootout, and the defense just kind of no-showed.
5 turnovers in the first half.
Barf.
Ooh.
Barf.
Ooh.
There's that. But then, I think Rockwall beat John Tyler.
Yep.
And then Rockwall Heath beat Tyler Lee.
Yeah.
Like
Close game. That was a good game.
Those were
but
good
yeah,
games.
The other 2 were
but it's like you want to see a district that got turned upside down in week 1.
Right. That was a good
That
one.
district is all crazy town banana pants now. So I'm a little worried about Longview because of that
I
defense.
noticed one team you said you didn't say you were worried about.
Who's that?
The 1-3 Cameron Yo-Yoman.
Let's talk about them tomorrow.
All right.
I want to do a segment.
But the point is, I'm not worried, and I don't think you are either. Spoiler alert.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah.
That's Monday Morning Fall.
All right.